Radio Rahim with Derek James at the precipice of one of the biggest fights since the turn of the century, I say. Maybe the best year in boxing because this fight is happening now. The weigh-in is done. The talking's done. The training's done. Your press is the only thing that's not done. Now, we know that Errol Spence right now has 24 hours plus to prepare for what is, by any definition, the biggest moment of his life in this boxing career. What do you do as a trainer, having been responsible for mental, physical, spiritual, as he would put it, well-being in this last 24 hours before a moment that will arrive on Saturday night?
You know, what I do, man, is I try to relax. And really, I'm here with my family, so we kind of cool out a little bit. My brother, my wife, my daughters, my son, kind of interact and engage with them. At the same time, you know, everybody wants to pull you everywhere. You're like, no, man, I have to be in the moment. And I meditate, so that's what I do. Stay focused on what I'm doing.
So you're a captain of the ship. Obviously, you know, you're the one in the corner that has to be calm and has to be assessing everything. You've got the game plan together. But for your fighter, are you spending time with him in this last 24 hours? Are you giving him space? What's the relationship like that?
Space. I don't see him until it's time to go to the fight. Sometimes we'll go to breakfast together. That's really only, he'll you know, every now and then. But really it's like about letting him have his space, because he's really like a guy who doesn't like to be surrounded all the time. And he's always surrounded all the time. So he's like, man, I don't want to see Derek. You know, so like within fight time, let's go.
At the weigh-in, yesterday really, before the weigh-in, we saw in his face, and the comments were made about, you know, how tough it looked for him to get down to 147. How big a part of that was camp, and is that going to be a factor in the fight?
No, man, he has a nutritionist, man, and that guy's on point. So it's tough for him to get down because he has to follow a regimen, right? So when you see him, he's making weight. It's truly regimented by Elliot. Elliot Buckle is a dietitian, and he takes care of him. I mean, really, he makes sure he makes the weight.
Both fighters got to make weight. This one is probably a bit easier for Terence Crawford than it will be for Errol Spence. But even as nice as these guys are and as respectful as they've been at the press conference, it got heated.
Hold your voice. Hold your voice. Hold your voice. Hold your voice. Because y'all going to get it. You can't talk. You can't fight. None of that. They got to make a new weight for you. Super heavyweight. The fuck you talking about?
What did you make of all the back and forth, the things that were thrown at your way?
I think that it's just life, man. It's like the game, man. It's like part of the show. You know what I mean? Like, I know, for me, I look back and I was like, I probably shouldn't have said some of the things I said or even reacted at all. But it's part of the show. I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, you say something, you're going to say something. And that's kind of what it was. But, I mean, I think that everybody's temperature, like everything that they've been banking on their whole career. If you think about it, he wins, but he's still in Errol's shadow. Because Errol still is the biggest seller, more pay-per-views, I mean, more sells out stadiums. So it's like, I think that they get an opportunity now to basically like fight that idea of what greatness is. Like, I think I saw Bomac say that the media made Errol. And so that's what he believes. So now it's time for the show and prove whatever they believe.
Well, that may be true for you, too. I mean, there are more than 2 competitors in the ring, at least between rounds. There's 4. Trainers are as competitive as fighters at times.
Well, I'm my greatest competition, so he's not my competition. And really, it would be, if you want to count, it would be 2 fighters and 5 competitors. There's 4 of them. It's only 1 of me. Now, remember that. So, but now at the same time, it's like, I'm not even, I don't compete with them. I don't think about them. If you're thinking about me instead of your guy, game over.
You're the reigning coach of the year, trainer of the year. That, like in any other profession, is going to put a target on your back. Other trainers want to prove themselves against you. And you got an uphill climb starting with Errol Spence right now.
Really, it started like 2 weeks ago with Frank Martin, then with Errol, then next AJ, then Jamel. Listen, man, but at the same time, you think about it like this. To get to where you want to be in life, or to have an idea or dream or thought about what you want to do, it's always difficult. It's always issues. And these guys are just issues and difficulties, and we just have to push through to be able to get to where we want to be. There's always a target, so I'm always repping myself. It's like when I fight, when I was, AJ fought the kid, Jermaine Franklin. And I'm like, man, and the coach is like, we're cool, but then there to fight, I realized they're like, no. So I'm like, okay, you realize that they're fighting my reputation.
I mean, arguably, not even arguably, really, you got the biggest 3 fights that will happen in the next 2 months. All of these guys you have been at the mountaintop. They're all underdogs, though.
That's cool. I like that.
You like that? How do you approach not just a fighter who's been to the mountaintop, had the straps, been the favorite for most of their career, now coming into a situation where they're doubted, where they're seen as underdogs, and then have them all in the gym together? How do you keep that a positive environment? And what will this mean for your legacy these next 3 fights?
Well, what it means is that these guys believe in themselves so much that nothing that somebody else can say about them hinders them, affects them. They know about the work that they put in. They know about what they have to do and what they really want to attain. So it's not so much about what somebody else says about you. It's about how they feel about themselves and what they want to attain and their vision of how they want to get there. So it's cool.
Do you see this as really a test of your acumen as a trainer? What's the challenge for you to get on the other side of September? If in October you got 3 wins in a row?
Well, I don't live my life with an if, so it's always a win. So, but I just see myself as I don't know what they'll say about me, nor do I kind of get involved with that, but because I just care about doing my job. So my mind is all about they hired me, they came in for a reason, and doing whatever they hired me to do. That's all I care about.
And lastly, if we see on Saturday night, what are we looking for Errol Spence to do? Like, if there's one thing I can be like, okay, if I see that, I know the game plan's working. I know Errol is doing what he wants to do in there.
Just him being consistent. When you see him do something one time, and be able to be consistent, and create situations or take away situations from Crawford that he really wants to do or his strengths, and create situations and scenarios for himself.
Well, one man that we know is consistent, and that's the reason that you're trainer of the year, is Derek James. You've been consistent in this boxing game your whole career, and now it's all coming to fruition for you. So congratulations on that accolade, and we see you Saturday night. Good luck. Thank you for the time. Always a pleasure with the coach, the trainer, the teacher, Derek James. Radio Rahim.